Welcome to How to Force Yourself to Improve. This audiobook is about breaking free from excuses, resisting comfort, and pushing yourself to grow, even when it feels hard. Many people wait for motivation, but motivation is not reliable. Real progress comes from discipline and the ability to take action, even when you do not feel like it. In this journey, you will learn how to create habits that stick, how to build mental toughness, and how to overcome the resistance that holds you back. You will discover strategies to push through fear, laziness, and doubt so you can take charge of your life and become the person you want to be. If you are serious about growth, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. Each chapter is designed to guide you step by step. Listen closely, apply what you hear, and watch yourself change. Improvement is not about waiting for the perfect time. It is about taking action now. Get ready to challenge yourself, to force yourself when you must, and to become stronger with every step. Your journey begins here. Chapter 1. The battle between comfort and growth. Every person faces a silent struggle. Every day, it is the battle between staying comfortable and pushing yourself to grow. Comfort feels safe. It is the warm bed on a cold morning, the decision to scroll on your phone instead of studying, or the choice to avoid exercise because it feels hard. Growth, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It demands effort, discipline, and sacrifice. If you want to improve, you must learn how to win this battle against comfort. Think about a time when you knew what you should do but avoided it. Maybe it was preparing for an exam, applying for a job, or starting a new skill. Instead of taking action, you found yourself delaying, telling yourself, "I will do it later." This is comfort speaking. Comfort wants you to avoid pain, avoid stress, and avoid effort. But avoiding effort also means avoiding progress. Take the story of Daniel, a high school student. He dreamed of playing basketball for his school team, but he avoided practicing because it was tiring. He convinced himself that watching videos of professional players would be enough. When tryouts came, he realized he was not ready. He felt embarrassed and disappointed. That day, Daniel understood that improvement requires discomfort. He decided to change. The next year, he forced himself to practice daily, even when he felt tired or lazy. Slowly, he improved his stamina, his shots, and his confidence. When the next tryouts came, he made the team. This is what happens when you choose growth over comfort. Improvement requires pushing yourself to do what you do not feel like doing. Comfort is easy, because the human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Thousands of years ago, this kept our ancestors safe from danger. But in today's world, comfort often traps us. It keeps us from studying, working out, learning new skills, or taking risks. If you want to improve, you must train your mind to override this natural desire for comfort. One way to do this is by building awareness. Notice when comfort is pulling you back. For example, when you think, "I will study later," pause and recognize that this is comfort trying to win. By naming it, you weaken its control. Then remind yourself of your goal and the reason you started. Improvement begins with awareness of your choices. Another powerful strategy is to start small. Forcing yourself to improve does not mean jumping into massive challenges immediately. It means creating small wins that build momentum. If you want to exercise but feel lazy, tell yourself, "I will just put on my shoes and step outside." If you want to write but feel stuck, promise yourself to write just one sentence. These small actions break the resistance of comfort. Often, once you start, you keep going. Remember Sarah, who wanted to learn piano. At first she avoided practice because it seemed too overwhelming. So she made a deal with herself: play just 5 minutes a day. Some days she only played for 5 minutes, but most days she stayed longer because starting was the hardest part. After a year, her skills improved far more than she imagined. By forcing herself to begin, she defeated comfort. Improvement is not about giant leaps. It is about daily battles, small choices, and consistent wins. Comfort tells you to stay the same, but growth whispers, keep going. Every time you force yourself to act, you grow stronger. You must also learn to embrace discomfort. Instead of running from it, reframe it as proof of growth. Muscles grow when they feel sore. Skills grow when you struggle. Confidence grows when you face fear. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is the path to improvement. Michael, a shy student, avoided public speaking. The thought of standing in front of others terrified him, but he wanted to improve his confidence. He started by speaking in front of just one friend, then a small group, then his class. Each time he felt discomfort, but he forced himself to do it anyway. Eventually, he delivered a speech at a school event with confidence. The fear never fully disappeared, but his courage grew stronger. This is the truth. Growth and comfort cannot exist together. Every time you choose comfort, you stay the same. Every time you choose growth, you become someone new. To force yourself to improve, begin by making discomfort a daily companion. Wake up early when you want to sleep in. Start working when you want to procrastinate. Speak up when you want to stay silent. Each act of resistance builds your strength. The first battle is not against the world, but against yourself. When you master your own mind, when you stop giving in to comfort, you unlock the power to improve in every area of life. Improvement is not easy, but it is simple. Choose growth, again and again, until it becomes your nature. With each choice, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. This is the starting point of real change. The question is not whether you feel like improving. The question is whether you are willing to force yourself to act even when you do not feel like it. If the answer is yes, then you have already begun the journey. Chapter 2. Discipline over motivation. Most people wait for motivation before they take action. They believe they must feel inspired before they can study, work, or practice. The truth is, motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Sometimes you wake up excited, and other times you wake up tired and unmotivated. If you depend on motivation, you will never be consistent. Discipline is different. Discipline means doing what you must do, even when you do not feel like it. Think about Alex, a teenager who wanted to get better at soccer. At first he waited until he felt like practicing. Some days he practiced hard, but other days he skipped. His progress was slow, and he often felt frustrated. Then one of his coaches told him something simple. Don't wait for motivation, train with discipline. Alex began scheduling his practices at the same time every day. He practiced whether he felt inspired or not. Within months, his skill improved dramatically. He learned that discipline, not motivation, created results. Motivation is like a spark. It can start a fire, but it cannot keep it burning. Discipline is the wood that keeps the fire alive. Improvement requires daily effort, and daily effort comes from discipline. When you commit to a routine, you no longer ask, "Do I feel like it today?" Instead, you decide, "This is what I do every day." Discipline builds habits. At first, it may feel difficult to push yourself to study, exercise, or work, but when you repeat an action daily, it becomes part of your routine. Over time, habits replace excuses. For example, brushing your teeth feels automatic because it is a habit. Imagine building habits for success in the same way. Consider Maya, who wanted to improve her grades. She set a rule for herself: study 1 hour every evening after dinner. At first, it felt hard. She wanted to watch television or talk with friends, but she forced herself to follow the rule. After a few weeks, it became normal. Studying after dinner was no longer a debate, it was a habit. Her grades improved, and she realized that discipline gave her freedom. This freedom is important. Many people think discipline feels like punishment, but in reality, discipline creates freedom. When you discipline yourself to save money, you gain financial freedom. When you discipline yourself to exercise, you gain physical freedom. When you discipline yourself to study, you gain the freedom to choose your future. Motivation cannot give you this freedom. It is too unreliable, but discipline guarantees results because it is action without excuses. Another key difference between motivation and discipline is control. Motivation depends on emotions, and emotions are often unpredictable. Some days you wake up happy, other days stressed or sad. If your improvement depends on feelings, your results will be inconsistent. Discipline depends on decisions, not emotions. When you decide to act, no matter what, you stay in control. Take the story of Ethan, who wanted to learn guitar. At first he practiced only when he felt like it. Weeks would pass with no progress. Then he decided to practice 15 minutes every day, no matter what. Some days he enjoyed it, other days it felt boring, but he practiced anyway. Over time his fingers became stronger, his songs smoother, and his confidence higher. Discipline created steady growth where motivation had failed. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you prove that you can be trusted. This strengthens confidence and makes it easier to keep future commitments. When you skip responsibilities, you weaken self-trust, and excuses grow stronger. Improvement requires respecting yourself enough to follow through, even when it is difficult. To develop discipline, start by creating small rules for yourself. Do not wait for the perfect moment or big motivation. Choose one action and commit to it daily. Wake up at a certain time. Write 1 page, exercise for 10 minutes, or read for 15 minutes. The size does not matter. The consistency does. Once discipline is built in small actions, you can expand it to larger challenges. At first, discipline may feel uncomfortable, even painful, but the discomfort is proof that you are growing stronger. Just like lifting weights makes muscles sore before they grow, discipline stretches your mental strength before it becomes natural. With time, you begin to enjoy the results, and the effort feels worth it. Remember this: motivation might start the journey, but discipline finishes it. The people who succeed are not always the most motivated. They are the most disciplined. They force themselves to act when others make excuses. When you wake up tomorrow, do not ask yourself, "Do I feel like improving today?" Instead, tell yourself, "I will improve today because I promised myself I would." That is discipline. That is how you force yourself to improve. Chapter 3: Breaking the Cycle of Excuses. Every person has made excuses. Excuses sound like, "I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow, I don't have enough time, or I'll start when I feel ready." At first, excuses feel harmless. They protect you from discomfort and make you feel safe. But over time, excuses become chains that hold you back from improvement. If you want to force yourself to improve, you must learn how to break this cycle of excuses. Think about Marcus, a student who wanted to get better at math. Each evening he told himself he would study, but when the time came he said, "I had a long day. I'll study tomorrow." Tomorrow became next week, and next week became the night before the exam. His results were poor, and he blamed bad luck. In truth, his excuses prevented his growth. One day, Marcus realized that if he kept making excuses, he would never reach his goals. He chose to take responsibility. He set a daily study time and forced himself to sit down, even when tired. The first days were hard, but soon he noticed progress. By breaking his excuses, he broke his limits. Excuses are easy because they let you avoid responsibility. They shift the blame away from you. But improvement requires honesty. When you stop making excuses, you face the truth. Your actions, not your circumstances, shape your results. Excuses often come from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of hard work. For example, Sarah wanted to join the school debate team, but told herself, "I'm not good enough." This excuse protected her from the fear of failure. but also robbed her of the chance to improve. When she finally tried out, she discovered that she could learn quickly and become skilled. The excuse was only a wall she built in her mind. Another reason excuses are dangerous is because they multiply. Once you allow one excuse, it becomes easier to allow another. Soon, excuses become habits. Improvement demands that you stop this cycle before it takes control of your life. To break excuses, start by recognizing them. The moment you hear yourself say, "I'll do it later," pause. Ask yourself, is this a reason or an excuse? If it is an excuse, replace it with action. For example, instead of saying, "I don't have time," decide to use 10 minutes right now. 10 minutes of action is better than a day of excuses. Consider Emily, who wanted to exercise more. She often told herself she was too busy with school. Then one day, she realized that she spent 30 minutes scrolling through her phone every evening. That was not a lack of time, it was an excuse. She replaced those 30 minutes with exercise. Soon she felt healthier and stronger. By breaking excuses, she broke her own barriers. Excuses may also sound polite, like "I'll wait for the right time," but the truth is, there is no perfect time. Life will always bring challenges, distractions, and responsibilities. Waiting for the perfect moment is just another excuse. The best time to start is now, with whatever you have. To stay consistent, create accountability. Tell a friend or family member about your goal. Share your progress with them. When others know what you are working toward, you feel more responsible to act. Accountability weakens excuses because you cannot hide behind them as easily. Another method is to remind yourself of the cost of excuses. Every excuse delays improvement. Every excuse is a lost opportunity. Imagine where you could be in 1 year if you stopped making excuses today. Imagine the skills, confidence, and growth you would gain. Then imagine staying the same because you chose excuses. Which future do you want? Breaking excuses also requires courage. It means admitting when you are avoiding effort. It means facing your fears and taking action anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite fear. Every time you choose action over excuse, you build courage. Michael wanted to write a story, but kept telling himself he had no ideas. That excuse kept him stuck. One day, he decided to sit down and write anything, even if it was imperfect. The act of writing broke the excuse. Over time, his writing improved, and his confidence grew. Excuses had kept him trapped, but action set him free. The truth is simple, excuses change nothing. They may comfort you in the moment, but they cost you your future. Improvement requires effort, not explanations. The next time you hear an excuse in your mind, treat it as a challenge. Instead of asking, "Why can't I?" ask, "How can I?" That shift in thinking forces you to find solutions instead of excuses. To force yourself to improve, you must become stronger than your excuses. Recognize them, reject them, and replace them with action. Each time you do, you grow. Each time you act, you move closer to your goals. Your success will never come from the excuses you make. It will come from the choices you take. Improvement belongs to those who stop waiting, stop explaining, and start acting. Chapter 4. Building mental toughness. Improvement is not always easy. You will face challenges, setbacks, and moments when quitting seems tempting. Mental toughness is the ability to keep going despite discomfort, doubt, and fear. It is the muscle that allows you to push yourself when your mind screams stop. If you want to force yourself to improve, building mental toughness is essential. Think about Jason, a student who struggled with running long distances. The first few days, he wanted to quit after 5 minutes. His mind told him it was too hard, that he could rest, that tomorrow was fine. But he forced himself to keep running, just a little longer each day. Over time, his stamina improved, and he discovered that mental strength mattered more than physical ability. Mental toughness allowed him to achieve what he once thought impossible. Mental toughness starts with accepting discomfort. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Pain, fatigue, failure, and criticism are part of the process. Accepting them as temporary and necessary conditions removes fear and strengthens perseverance. Take the story of Lily, who wanted to learn coding. She struggled to understand complex problems and often felt frustrated. Instead of giving up, she told herself, "This is part of learning." She kept working, seeking help, and trying new approaches. Her persistence paid off. She became skilled, and the frustration that once held her back became a signal of growth, rather than failure. Self-talk is critical for mental toughness. Your mind will always try to protect you by creating excuses. Positive self-talk is like a coach inside your head, reminding you why you started and pushing you forward. Replace thoughts like, "I can't do this," with "I will try," and "I will get better." The more you practice this, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. Consider Alex, who wanted to improve his chess skills. When he lost a game, he felt defeated. But instead of quitting, he reflected on his mistakes, learned from them, and approached the next game with renewed focus. Mental toughness allowed him to turn losses into lessons. Discipline and mental toughness are connected. Discipline teaches you to act even when you do not feel like it. Mental toughness teaches you to keep acting when challenges appear. Together they make you unstoppable. Another key to mental toughness is consistency. Small actions repeated daily strengthen your mind. For example, forcing yourself to study, practice, or exercise every day, even when tired, builds endurance and resilience. Each day of persistence strengthens your ability to push through future challenges. Take Mia, who wanted to improve her singing. Early on, she struggled with difficult notes and felt embarrassed. By practicing daily and forcing herself to tackle the hard parts, she built both skill and confidence. Mental toughness made her unstoppable in pursuing her goal. Mental toughness also comes from learning to manage failure. Failure is inevitable, but how you respond defines your growth. People with mental toughness view failure as feedback rather than defeat. They analyze mistakes, adjust strategies, and try again. Ethan wanted to start a business. Early mistakes cost him money and time. Instead of quitting, he learned from each error, refined his approach, and continued. Each setback strengthened his mental resilience and brought him closer to success. Visualization helps build mental toughness. Imagine yourself facing difficulties and overcoming them. Picture the challenges, the effort, and the victory. Mental rehearsal prepares you for real-life obstacles and makes them easier to endure. Focus is another element of toughness. When distractions, doubts, or fears appear, maintaining attention on your goals strengthens resolve. Every time you refocus on your objective, your mental endurance grows stronger. Consider Zoe, who wanted to run a marathon. Midway through training, she felt exhausted and doubted her ability. By focusing on her goals and visualizing crossing the finish line, she pushed through the pain. Mental toughness kept her moving when her body wanted to stop. Finally, building mental toughness is a lifelong habit. Every choice to act, every time you refuse to quit, every moment you face discomfort and move forward strengthens your mind. Over time, challenges feel manageable. Obstacles become opportunities, and improvement becomes inevitable. The journey to force yourself to improve is never free of struggle, but struggle is the training ground for strength. Embrace it, endure it, and grow stronger with every step. Mental toughness is not about avoiding difficulty, it is about becoming stronger because of it. As you finish this chapter, think of one challenge you are avoiding. Commit to facing it today, even partially. Every small act of courage builds mental toughness and brings you closer to improvement. Chapter 5. Creating a growth environment. Improvement does not happen in isolation. The environment you live in, the people you spend time with, and the habits you nurture all influence your ability to grow. To force yourself to improve, you must create an environment that supports growth and minimizes distraction. excuses, and negativity. Consider Daniel, a student who wanted to improve his grades. Initially, he studied in a noisy room, with friends constantly distracting him. He found himself procrastinating and making excuses. When he moved to a quiet space, organized his books and set clear boundaries, his focus improved dramatically. The environment allowed him to force himself into productive action. A growth environment includes physical organization. Clutter, distractions, and chaos make it harder to focus. Clear your space of unnecessary items. Keep tools and materials you need close at hand. A simple, organized environment makes it easier to start and continue tasks without friction. Take the story of Ava, who wanted to learn digital art. She set up a dedicated workspace with her tablet, stylus, and reference materials organized neatly. By creating this environment, she was able to focus longer, practice consistently, and see noticeable progress. The environment reinforced discipline. Surround yourself with supportive people, friends, mentors, or peers who encourage growth, share knowledge, and hold you accountable can accelerate improvement. Conversely, people who criticize without guidance, discourage effort, or normalize excuses can slow progress. Noah wanted to improve his public speaking. He joined a group of friends who practiced speeches together, gave feedback, and motivated each other. Their support helped him stay consistent, tackle challenges, and force himself to improve beyond what he could achieve alone. Minimize exposure to negative influences. Social media, entertainment, or people who reinforce excuses can sabotage progress. Limiting exposure allows your mind to focus on improvement rather than distraction. Consider Emma, who wanted to get better at writing. She noticed she spent hours scrolling through social media each day. By creating a rule to limit her screen time and using that time to write instead, she improved her skills faster than before. Her environment shifted her habits from distraction to growth. Use visual cues to reinforce your goals. Post reminders, inspirational quotes, or your goals where you can see them daily. These cues nudge your brain toward action and remind you of the path you are forcing yourself to follow. Jake wanted to exercise regularly. He kept his gym shoes and workout clothes by his bed as a visual cue. Every morning, seeing them reminded him to act, reducing resistance to getting started. Small environmental tweaks can have a big impact on consistency. A growth environment also includes routines and systems. Set specific times for tasks, create habits that support improvement, and remove unnecessary friction. When routines are structured, it is easier to take action without relying on motivation. Mia wanted to improve her language skills. She created a daily routine: morning reading, afternoon practice exercises, and evening listening practice. The routine became automatic, reducing excuses and increasing consistency. Accountability structures further strengthen your environment. Share your progress with mentors, friends, or online communities. Track goals and review your achievements regularly. When others know you are working toward improvement, excuses lose power. Ethan wanted to start a business. He joined a mastermind group where members shared weekly progress, challenges, and solutions. The group created a culture of accountability and growth, pushing him to act consistently even when he felt hesitant. Mental environment matters as well. Limit negative self-talk, doubts, and fear. Fill your mind with knowledge, positive reinforcement, and examples of successful people who overcame similar challenges. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your environment influences your mind. Zoe wanted to run a marathon. She joined a running club, read books about endurance training, and listened to motivational podcasts. Her environment pushed her to run even when she wanted to quit. The combination of physical, social, and mental factors created an ecosystem of improvement. Finally, understand that creating a growth environment is not passive. You must actively design your surroundings, select supportive people, and build routines that reinforce action. Your environment can either empower or inhibit you. By taking control of it, you force yourself into growth rather than waiting for motivation or ideal conditions. As you finish this chapter, examine your surroundings. Identify at least one change you can make today to reduce distractions or increase support for your goals. Even a small adjustment can make it easier to force yourself to improve and sustain progress over time. Chapter 6: Overcoming procrastination. Procrastination is one of the biggest obstacles to improvement. It is the act of delaying tasks, avoiding effort, and convincing yourself that later is better than now. Every time you procrastinate, you give comfort control and slow your progress. To force yourself to improve, you must learn how to overcome procrastination and act immediately, even when you don't feel like it. Think about Liam, a student who wanted to improve his writing skills. Every day, he told himself he would start his essay, but he kept scrolling through his phone, waiting for inspiration. The deadline approached, and panic replaced productivity. He realized that procrastination was stealing his potential. He decided to break the habit by setting a small goal. Write the first sentence immediately, no matter how imperfect. Once he started, momentum carried him through the entire essay. He learned that action, even imperfect action, beats waiting for the perfect moment. Procrastination often comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of discomfort can make tasks feel overwhelming. Instead of facing the challenge, the mind searches for comfort. Recognizing the fear behind procrastination allows you to address it directly rather than hide behind excuses. Consider Sarah, who wanted to practice piano but feared making mistakes. She kept postponing practice, telling herself she would start tomorrow. When she realized that her fear was causing procrastination, she chose to start practicing anyway. Mistakes became learning opportunities, and progress followed. By confronting fear, she broke the cycle of delay. Another cause of procrastination is perfectionism. Many people avoid action because they want everything to be perfect before they begin. Waiting for perfect conditions, however, often leads to never starting. Improvement does not require perfection. It requires action. Take the story of Alex, who wanted to start coding a small game. He kept delaying, thinking he needed complete knowledge before starting. One day he forced himself to write the first few lines of code. They were messy, full of errors, but he continued. With each step, his skills improved. Perfectionism had been the thief of his progress, and action became his ally. To overcome procrastination, break tasks into small steps. Large projects can feel overwhelming, triggering avoidance. By dividing a task into manageable actions, you reduce mental resistance and make it easier to start. Noah wanted to write a book. The thought of completing hundreds of pages was intimidating. He broke the project into chapters and then pages, focusing on one page at a time. This made the task approachable and allowed him to take consistent action. Use time limits to force action. Set a timer for a short period, such as 10 or 15 minutes, and commit to working on the task during that time. Often, the hardest part is simply starting. Once you begin, momentum keeps you going. Emma struggled with studying for tests. By setting a timer and committing to just 15 minutes of focused work, she often continued beyond the timer because starting was the hardest step. The small window of commitment tricked her mind into action, defeating procrastination. Another strategy is accountability. Tell someone about your goal or deadline. Knowing that someone else expects progress increases pressure to act. When excuses are exposed to others, they lose power. Jake wanted to exercise more consistently. He told a friend he would meet them at the gym at a specific time. The commitment forced him to show up, even when he wanted to skip. Accountability reduced procrastination and built consistency. Understanding the emotional cost of procrastination also helps. Every time you delay, stress builds, deadlines approach, and confidence decreases. Acting immediately relieves stress, creates momentum, and reinforces self-trust. Michael wanted to learn a new language but always postponed practice. He noticed that the longer he delayed, the harder it became to start. By committing to a daily habit, even for 10 minutes, he overcame procrastination and steadily improved. Finally, remember that procrastination is not a permanent trait, it is a habit. Habits can be changed through awareness, small actions, and repetition. Each time you act instead of delaying, you reinforce a new pattern, action over avoidance. To force yourself to improve, take the first step now. Do not wait for motivation, inspiration, or perfect conditions. Start with something small, and the action will create momentum. Each time you choose action over delay, you grow stronger, more disciplined, and closer to your goals. Chapter 7. Turning failures into lessons. Failure is a natural part of improvement. Every person who has achieved success has faced setbacks, mistakes, and disappointments. The difference between those who improve and those who stay the same is how they handle failure. To force yourself to improve, you must learn to turn failures into lessons rather than excuses. Consider Emma, a student who wanted to excel in science competitions. Her first few attempts ended in failure. Experiments didn't work, presentations were messy, and judges gave critical feedback. Instead of giving up, she reflected on what went wrong and identified areas for improvement. She adjusted her approach, practiced more, and tried again. By learning from failure, she turned losses into stepping stones. Eventually, she won several awards. Failure teaches awareness. Each mistake reveals a gap in knowledge, skill, or strategy. By analyzing failures objectively, you gain information that can guide future action. Ignoring or avoiding failure leaves you blind to what needs improvement. Take the story of Daniel, who struggled with math tests. Every poor grade frustrated him, but instead of blaming luck, he reviewed each mistake carefully. He discovered patterns of misunderstanding and corrected them. By treating failure as feedback, he improved steadily over time. Failure also builds resilience. Facing setbacks and continuing despite disappointment strengthens mental toughness. Every time you push forward after a failure, you prove to yourself that you are capable of enduring challenges. Michael wanted to learn to skateboard. He fell countless times during practice, scraping knees and bruising elbows. At first he felt discouraged and wanted to quit, but he focused on what he could learn from each fall: balance, timing, and technique. Gradually, his skills improved, and he became confident. His resilience grew stronger with every failure. Reflection is essential. After a setback, ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I do differently next time? What did I learn? This process transforms disappointment into knowledge, guiding you toward better results in the future. Consider Sarah, who wanted to improve her piano skills. Each failed piece taught her finger placement, timing, and practice methods. Without these failures, she would not have learned efficiently. Reflection turned mistakes into tools for improvement. Failures also highlight priorities. They reveal which areas require more focus, effort, or attention. By understanding weaknesses, you can allocate resources effectively to accelerate growth. Alex struggled with public speaking. Each unsuccessful attempt, where he forgot lines or stumbled, showed him which skills to strengthen: breathing, eye contact, or preparation. These failures guided his practice, making him a better speaker over time. A growth mindset is key. People with a fixed mindset see failure as a sign they cannot succeed. Those with a growth mindset see failure as a chance to improve. Choosing to embrace a growth mindset allows you to force yourself to learn from mistakes and act despite setbacks. Noah wanted to run long distances. Every time he fell behind in training or felt exhausted mid-run, he analyzed the experience, his pacing, nutrition, and endurance. Learning from each challenge allowed him to adjust and gradually achieve his goals. Support from others can enhance learning from failure. Mentors, coaches, or peers can provide perspective, feedback, and encouragement. Their guidance helps you see mistakes clearly and avoid repeating them. Lily wanted to start coding apps but faced repeated errors and bugs. Her mentor helped her review each problem and find solutions. With guidance, failures became lessons, and her skills improved faster than working alone. Finally, understand that failure is not permanent. One setback does not define your abilities or potential. Improvement is a process of continuous trial, error, and adaptation. Each failure is temporary. Each lesson is permanent. To force yourself to improve, stop fearing failure. Treat every mistake as an opportunity to learn, reflect, and adjust. The more you embrace failure as a teacher rather than a judge, the faster you grow and the closer you move toward mastery. Chapter 8. Mastering Self-Discipline Through Habits. Improvement is a marathon, not a sprint. To force yourself to improve, you must rely on habits rather than willpower alone. Habits are routines that automate action, reducing the mental effort required to act. When positive habits are in place, discipline becomes easier and progress becomes consistent. Think about Mia, who wanted to improve her writing skills. At first, she struggled to sit down and write every day. Willpower alone was inconsistent. Some days she felt motivated, other days lazy. Then she started a small habit: write for 10 minutes every morning. The habit became automatic. Even when she didn't feel motivated, she still wrote. Over time, 10 minutes turned into 30, and her skills improved dramatically. Habits are the building blocks of discipline. They transform difficult conscious actions into natural behaviors. The more you rely on habits, the less mental energy you spend resisting comfort or procrastination. Consider Alex, who wanted to exercise consistently. Initially, he relied on motivation to go to the gym. Some days he felt motivated, some days not. He decided to create a habit. Place his gym clothes by the door every night and commit to working out first thing in the morning. Eventually, exercising became automatic. The habit removed the need for constant motivation. To build habits that support improvement, start small. Small actions are easier to repeat and less likely to be skipped. Over time, these actions compound, creating significant growth. Take the story of Ethan, who wanted to learn a new language. He committed to learning one new word each day. At first, it felt insignificant, but after months, his vocabulary grew, and he found himself reading and speaking confidently. Small, consistent actions led to mastery. Another key element is consistency. Habits only become effective when repeated over time. Missing days weakens momentum, so prioritize regularity over intensity. Lily wanted to meditate daily. She set aside 5 minutes each morning. On some days it was hard to focus, but the daily repetition strengthened her mental clarity and patience. Consistency turned meditation into a powerful tool for focus and self-discipline. Accountability can reinforce habits. Sharing your goals with someone else, tracking progress publicly, or joining a community of learners strengthens commitment. Noah wanted to run longer distances. By joining a running group, he found motivation and accountability. Missing a session became difficult because others expected him to show up. Social support strengthened his habits and forced him to act even when he felt tired. Habits also reduce decision fatigue. Every choice requires mental energy. By automating key actions, you conserve energy for more complex decisions. For example, planning meals, setting study times, and preparing exercise gear in advance reduces the mental resistance to action. Consider Daniel, who wanted to improve his study routine. He prepared all materials the night before and set a fixed study time. Following the habit became natural, and he no longer struggled to start. Progress came effortlessly because the environment and habits worked in his favor. Tracking habits helps reinforce them. Seeing streaks, progress, or completed tasks motivates continued effort. Measurement provides tangible evidence that action leads to results. Michael wanted to improve guitar skills. By tracking daily practice, he saw improvement over weeks and months. Even when motivation waned, The habit and progress tracking kept him committed. Finally, understand that habits are the bridge between intention and improvement. Willpower alone is unreliable, and motivation is fleeting. Habits create a system that forces you to act consistently, turning small actions into long-term growth. To force yourself to improve, identify one key habit that will move you closer to your goal. Start small, repeat it daily, track it, and adjust when necessary. Over time, this habit will strengthen your discipline and make improvement inevitable. Chapter 9. Harnessing the power of focus. Improvement requires focus. Without it, effort is scattered and progress slows. Focus is the ability to direct your attention and energy toward the task that matters most, ignoring distractions and irrelevant thoughts. To force yourself to improve, mastering focus is essential. Consider Emma, who wanted to learn painting. Initially, she tried to do everything at once: drawing, reading about art, watching tutorials, and experimenting with colors. Her work felt chaotic, and she struggled to improve. When she decided to focus on one technique at a time, dedicating her full attention to practice, her skills improved rapidly. Focus multiplied the effect of her effort. Focus begins with clarity. You must know exactly what you want to improve and why. A vague goal like get better at math is too broad. A focused goal would be practice algebra problems for 30 minutes every day to improve test scores. Clarity directs your energy efficiently. Take the story of Daniel, who wanted to improve his soccer skills. Instead of trying to train everything, passing, shooting, dribbling, and fitness, he focused on improving his weak foot. By dedicating concentrated effort, he made measurable progress. Focus amplified his results. Distractions are the enemy of focus. Social media, notifications, background noise, and multitasking fragment attention. When you force yourself to improve, you must control distractions, creating a space where attention can flow uninterrupted. Consider Sarah, who wanted to learn coding. She blocked social media, turned off notifications, and worked in a quiet space. By controlling her environment, she maintained deep focus, allowing her to learn faster and retain information better. Another element of focus is time management. Dedicate specific blocks of time to high-priority tasks. Avoid splitting attention between too many activities. Deep work produces results that scattered effort cannot. Noah wanted to improve his piano skills. He set aside 2 uninterrupted hours daily for focused practice. The consistent, concentrated effort accelerated his improvement far more than occasional practice scattered throughout the day. Mindfulness enhances focus. Being aware of your attention and gently redirecting it to the task at hand reduces wandering thoughts. Focus is like a muscle. It strengthens with practice. Mia wanted to improve her writing. She practiced concentrating on one paragraph at a time, noticing when her mind drifted. Over time, she could maintain focus longer, producing higher quality work. Prioritization strengthens focus. Identify tasks with the highest impact and direct your energy toward them first. Avoid spending time on low-value actions that provide comfort but little progress. Consider Alex, who wanted to learn public speaking. He focused on preparing key points and practicing delivery rather than memorizing every word. This focus allowed him to perform confidently and improve efficiently. Self-discipline and focus are connected. Discipline ensures you act, even when motivation fades. Focus ensures your actions are meaningful and directed. Together, they create unstoppable improvement. Tracking focus helps maintain progress. Keep a journal of focused work sessions, noting distractions and outcomes. Reflection strengthens awareness and encourages better control over attention. Ethan wanted to learn a new language. By tracking focused practice sessions, he noticed which methods worked best and adjusted his study plan. Focus turned scattered effort into measurable progress. Finally, understand that focus is not just about effort, it is about direction. You may work hard, but without focus, improvement is slow. Mastering focus allows every action to count amplifying results and bringing you closer to your goals. To force yourself to improve, identify one high-priority area and dedicate undistracted time daily to it. Remove distractions, maintain clarity, and practice sustained attention. Focus turns effort into results, making improvement inevitable. Chapter 10. Setting goals that drive action. Improvement requires direction. Without goals, effort drifts and progress slows. Goals are the roadmap that guides your actions, but not all goals are equal. To force yourself to improve, you need goals that inspire action, challenge you, and provide clarity. Consider Liam, a student who wanted to improve his math skills. At first he only had a vague goal. I want to get better at math. Without a clear target, he studied inconsistently, often distracted by easier or more enjoyable tasks. When he set a specific goal, solve 20 algebra problems daily, he suddenly had direction. Each day he knew exactly what to do, and progress followed. Effective goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. These criteria ensure that goals are clear, realistic, and motivating. Vague goals like be better are hard to act upon. Specific goals provide concrete steps to follow. Take the story of Emily, who wanted to run faster. Instead of saying, "I want to run better," she set a measurable goal: run a 5K in under 30 minutes by the end of 3 months. This goal gave her a clear target and allowed her to track progress. Each run became purposeful. Every training session aligned with the goal. Goals should challenge you. If a goal is too easy, it provides little growth. Stretch goals push your limits and require effort, discipline, and persistence. Growth occurs when you act beyond comfort, and challenging goals force you to do just that. Consider Daniel, who wanted to improve his piano skills. Instead of practicing simple songs, he set a goal to perform a complex piece at a school event. The challenge pushed him to practice daily, refine his technique, and overcome mistakes. The goal forced action and accelerated improvement. Breaking large goals into smaller milestones makes them manageable. Large goals can feel overwhelming, triggering procrastination. Milestones provide a step-by-step path and give a sense of achievement along the way. Take Mia, who wanted to write a novel. The idea of completing hundreds of pages was intimidating. She divided the project into chapters, then pages, focusing on one small step at a time. Each completed chapter became motivation for the next. Small milestones made progress visible and consistent. Goals also help maintain focus. When distractions arise, goals provide clarity about what matters most. Instead of scattering effort, you can prioritize high-value actions that align with your objectives. Noah wanted to improve his public speaking. By setting the goal to deliver a 5-minute speech confidently in front of his class, he knew exactly what to practice and could measure improvement. The goal kept him focused and disciplined. Accountability strengthens goals. Sharing objectives with others, tracking progress, and reporting results reinforces commitment. When you know someone else is watching your progress, you are less likely to make excuses. Alex wanted to learn guitar. By telling a friend he would play a song perfectly by the end of the month, he created external accountability. This added pressure forced him to practice consistently, turning intention into action. Goals should be adaptable. Life can throw unexpected challenges your way. Adjusting goals without abandoning them allows you to stay on track while responding to reality. Flexibility prevents discouragement and maintains momentum. Consider Ethan, who aimed to run a marathon but suffered an injury. He adapted his goal, focusing on shorter runs and rehabilitation exercises. By adjusting while staying committed, he continued progressing safely and effectively. Finally, visualize your goals. Picture yourself achieving them vividly. Visualization strengthens motivation, clarifies steps, and reinforces belief in your ability to succeed. Lily wanted to master painting. She visualized completing a gallery-worthy piece, imagining the process, the challenges, and the final result. This mental rehearsal prepared her for real-life action, keeping her disciplined and focused. To force yourself to improve, set clear, challenging, and actionable goals. Break them into steps, track progress, maintain focus, and adapt when necessary. Goals transform effort into direction, turning scattered energy into measurable improvement. Chapter 11. The role of consistency in growth. Consistency is the bridge between goals and results. Many people start with enthusiasm but fail to maintain action. Without consistency, effort becomes random and progress slows. To force yourself to improve, you must commit to consistent action, even when motivation fades. Consider Sarah, who wanted to improve her piano skills. At first, she practiced sporadically, depending on when she felt inspired. Her skills grew slowly, and she often became frustrated. When she created a daily practice routine, even for just 30 minutes a day, her progress accelerated. Consistency turned small, repeated actions into lasting improvement. Consistency creates momentum. Each day of action builds upon the previous day. Small steps, repeated consistently, compound into significant results over time. Skipping days disrupts momentum, making it harder to continue. Take the story of Liam, who wanted to get better at soccer. Practicing every day, even for short periods, strengthened his skills. Missing days left gaps in his development, slowing his improvement. Consistency ensured that effort accumulated rather than dissipating. Habits and consistency are closely linked. When actions become habitual, consistency is easier to maintain because less mental effort is required. For example, brushing teeth every morning and evening is consistent because it is automatic. Improvement requires creating similar automatic behaviors in key areas of life. Consider Alex, who wanted to improve his writing. By writing one page every day, he built a habit of consistent practice. Over months, his skills advanced dramatically, and he no longer had to rely on willpower or motivation to sit down and write. Consistency also strengthens self-trust. Every time you follow through on a commitment, even small, you prove to yourself that you can be relied upon. Self-trust builds confidence, making it easier to force yourself to act in the future. Mia wanted to improve her running endurance. By running the same distance daily, she built both physical stamina and mental trust in her ability to stick to commitments. Skipping runs weakened both. Regularity reinforced her belief in herself. Even when progress is slow, consistency matters. Improvement may not be immediately visible, but repeated effort compounds over time. Trust in the process and keep acting. Noah wanted to learn a language. Early on, he struggled with grammar and vocabulary. Some days felt frustrating, and progress seemed invisible. By practicing daily, even for 10 minutes, he gradually improved. Consistency turned struggle into growth. Discipline and consistency are partners. Discipline ensures action when you do not feel like it. Consistency ensures that these actions add up over time. Together they create unstoppable progress. Michael wanted to master guitar. By practicing consistently, his finger strength, timing, and skill improved. Occasional intense practice could not match the impact of consistent daily effort. Small, regular actions multiplied results. To maintain consistency, track your progress. Recording completed tasks, practice sessions, or milestones provides tangible evidence of effort. Seeing your streak grow reinforces commitment and motivates continued action. Emma wanted to improve her drawing. By keeping a daily sketchbook and marking each completed page, she visualized progress. The simple act of tracking became motivation to maintain consistent practice. Consistency also requires realistic expectations. Overcommitting can lead to burnout, which disrupts progress. Set manageable daily actions that you can maintain. gradually increasing intensity as capacity grows. Lily wanted to improve her public speaking. She committed to speaking in front of small groups daily, gradually building confidence. The steady rhythm ensured she progressed without feeling overwhelmed. Finally, understand that improvement is not about occasional bursts of effort, it is about repeated action over time. Consistency is the silent driver behind every success story. People who force themselves to act daily, even in small ways, achieve far more than those who rely on sporadic motivation. To force yourself to improve, commit to daily action in your key growth areas, make it a habit, track it, and trust the process. Over time, consistent effort will turn your goals into reality and make improvement inevitable. Chapter 12: The Importance of Self-Reflection. Improvement requires more than action. It requires understanding yourself. Self-reflection is the practice of examining your thoughts, behaviors, and results to identify what works and what does not. To force yourself to improve, regular self-reflection is essential because it helps you make smarter choices, refine strategies, and accelerate growth. Consider Emma, who wanted to improve her writing. She kept writing daily but noticed her progress felt slow. By reflecting on her work, she identified common mistakes, weak sentence structures, and unclear ideas. She adjusted her practice, focusing on weak areas, and saw faster improvement. Reflection turned ordinary practice into deliberate growth. Self-reflection reveals patterns. By examining past behavior, you can understand which habits help you and which hinder you. Without reflection, you repeat mistakes, wasting time and energy. Take the story of Liam, who struggled with learning math. Every time he got a problem wrong, he wrote down why he made the mistake. Over time, he noticed patterns, careless errors, misunderstanding of formulas, and skipping steps. Reflection allowed him to target his weak points and improve more efficiently. Reflection also strengthens self-awareness. Understanding your strengths, weaknesses, triggers, and habits helps you create strategies for success. Without awareness, you act blindly, hoping effort alone will produce results. Consider Noah, who wanted to improve his running. By tracking performance, energy levels, and recovery, he noticed times when he was more productive and times when he overtrained. Adjusting based on this awareness optimized his progress and prevented setbacks. Self-reflection builds problem-solving skills. When challenges arise, reflecting on past experiences allows you to find solutions faster. Every setback becomes an opportunity to learn rather than a reason to quit. Take the story of Alex, who wanted to improve public speaking. After each presentation, he reflected on what went well, what could improve, and what techniques he could apply next time. This continuous feedback loop made him a better speaker faster than practicing without reflection. Reflection also strengthens resilience. By analyzing failures and successes, you understand that growth is a process. You begin to accept setbacks as normal and temporary, reducing fear and discouragement. Mia wanted to learn piano. After each practice, she spent a few minutes reflecting. Which scales felt difficult, which songs flowed smoothly, and what she could focus on next. This habit transformed her practice from mechanical repetition into purposeful improvement. Journaling is a practical tool for reflection. Writing thoughts, experiences, and lessons daily or weekly helps clarify thinking and track progress. Reflection through journaling can reveal insights that are easy to overlook in the rush of daily life. Consider Sarah, who wanted to improve drawing. She kept a sketch journal, noting what techniques worked and which areas needed improvement. Looking back over weeks, she could clearly see her progress and patterns, which guided future practice. Self-reflection also helps manage emotions. Understanding why you feel frustrated, distracted, or demotivated allows you to adjust actions instead of letting emotions control behavior. Ethan wanted to learn coding. After debugging errors, he reflected on what caused mistakes, syntax errors, logical flaws, or misunderstanding concepts. By identifying the root cause, he improved faster and felt more confident in tackling challenges. Reflection is most effective when paired with action. Insights alone do not lead to improvement. You must apply what you learn to refine habits, practice, and strategies. Action converts reflection into tangible progress. Finally, understand that self-reflection is a tool for continuous improvement. People who regularly examine themselves and adjust their actions grow faster, avoid repeated mistakes, and maintain motivation. Reflection transforms ordinary effort into deliberate, purposeful growth. To force yourself to improve, set aside time regularly for self-reflection. Analyze your actions, results, and emotions. Identify lessons and apply them immediately. Reflection turns effort into intelligence, helping you improve faster and more effectively. Chapter 13: Learning to Embrace Discomfort. Improvement does not happen in comfort zones. Growth requires stepping into situations that feel challenging, unfamiliar, or even uncomfortable. Discomfort is a signal that you are stretching your limits, learning new skills, and moving closer to your potential. To force yourself to improve, you must learn to embrace discomfort rather than avoid it. Consider Mia, who wanted to improve her public speaking. At first, speaking in front of a few classmates made her nervous. Her palms sweated, her heart raced, and she stumbled over words. Instead of avoiding these situations, she chose to face them daily, accepting the uncomfortable feeling as part of the learning process. Over time, her confidence grew, and speaking in front of larger audiences became easier. Discomfort often signals growth. When tasks feel challenging, it means your brain and body are being pushed beyond familiar patterns. Avoiding discomfort keeps you in a safe zone, but also keeps you stagnant. Take the story of Daniel, who wanted to improve his running speed. Sprinting pushed him to exhaustion, making him question if he could continue. That discomfort, however, forced him to adapt, build endurance, and increase speed. Avoiding these challenging sessions would have kept him slow and limited his potential. Fear and discomfort are closely connected. Often the mind interprets new challenges as threats. This fear manifests as hesitation, avoidance, or excuses. By accepting discomfort, you teach your mind that challenges are opportunities, not threats. Consider Emma, who wanted to learn coding. Complex problems made her frustrated and anxious. Each time she struggled, she felt the urge to quit. Instead, she faced the discomfort, experimenting with different solutions and seeking help when necessary. Gradually, she became more skilled and confident. The discomfort became a teacher rather than an obstacle. Another aspect of embracing discomfort is persistence. Growth requires repeating challenging actions, even when you feel tired, frustrated, or uncertain. Each repetition strengthens your capacity to endure and improve skill. Take the story of Liam, who wanted to learn the guitar. Certain chords were painful to play at first, and his fingers ached. Instead of stopping, he practiced daily, accepting the physical discomfort. His hands strengthened, and he could play songs that once seemed impossible. Persistence through discomfort turned struggle into mastery. Discomfort also teaches patience. Improvement takes time, and the process often feels slow or difficult. By learning to tolerate temporary discomfort, you develop patience and resilience, qualities essential for long-term growth. Consider Sarah, who wanted to improve her drawing. Early attempts were frustrating, lines were messy, and proportions were wrong. Instead of quitting, she continued practicing, accepting that initial discomfort was part of the learning journey. Her patience allowed skill to develop steadily. A growth mindset is crucial. People who embrace discomfort see challenges as opportunities to learn. Those who avoid discomfort see obstacles as threats. Choosing to face discomfort strengthens mental toughness and accelerates improvement. Noah wanted to run a marathon. Long runs were physically painful and mentally draining. Each time he pushed through discomfort, his endurance improved. Avoiding these runs would have prevented him from reaching his goal. Discomfort was the doorway to growth. Visualization helps prepare for discomfort. Imagine challenges and how you will respond. Mentally rehearsing difficult scenarios reduces fear and increases confidence when facing real situations. Michael wanted to improve his math skills. Before difficult problem sets, he visualized tackling them step by step, accepting the challenge. By preparing mentally for discomfort, he reduced anxiety and improved performance. Finally, understand that discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to grow. The more you practice stepping into discomfort, the stronger, more resilient, and capable you become. Discomfort is temporary, but the skills and confidence gained from facing it last a lifetime. To force yourself to improve, actively seek situations that challenge you. Accept the uneasy feelings, persist through difficulties, and reflect on lessons learned. Growth lies on the other side of discomfort. Chapter 14. Leveraging small wins for big progress. Improvement can feel overwhelming if you focus only on the final goal. Large goals often seem distant, making it easy to procrastinate or give up. One of the most powerful ways to force yourself to improve is by leveraging small wins. Small wins build confidence, reinforce habits, and create momentum that carries you forward toward bigger achievements. Consider Emma, who wanted to improve her writing skills. Her ultimate goal was to write a novel, which felt intimidating at first. Instead of focusing on the massive task ahead, she set small daily goals: write one paragraph, edit one page, or read one chapter for inspiration. Each completed task became a small win, giving her confidence to continue. Over time, these small wins accumulated, and the once overwhelming novel became achievable. Small wins matter because they signal progress. Progress, no matter how minor, motivates continued effort. The human brain responds to achievement, releasing dopamine that encourages repetition of productive behavior. By designing situations where you can win frequently, you train your brain to associate effort with reward. Take the story of Daniel, who wanted to improve his running speed. Initially, he could only run a mile without stopping. Each time he added a few extra steps or seconds to his time, it felt like a victory. These small wins kept him motivated to continue training until he could run longer distances with ease. Small wins also build habits. By completing tiny, consistent actions, you reinforce routines that drive improvement. Habits reduce reliance on motivation and make progress automatic over time. Consider Liam, who wanted to learn to play the piano. He started by mastering one simple scale each week. Each scale was a small win, but together they built the foundation for complex pieces. Small, manageable victories turned practice into a habit and skill into mastery. Tracking small wins amplifies their impact. When you see tangible evidence of progress, it strengthens confidence and resilience. Visualizing or recording achievements makes improvement feel real and attainable. Noah wanted to learn a new language. He tracked new words learned each day and reviewed completed lessons weekly. Seeing growth reinforced the habit and encouraged him to keep going, turning incremental progress into long-term fluency. Small wins also reduce fear of failure. By focusing on achievable steps, you lower the pressure of the ultimate goal, making action less intimidating. The accumulation of success builds courage and determination. Consider Sarah, who wanted to improve her public speaking. Instead of preparing a long speech for a large audience immediately, she started by speaking to a small group of friends. Each successful presentation was a small win, building confidence for larger, more challenging opportunities. Leverage small wins to create momentum. Success breeds action, and momentum makes it easier to continue improving. Even on days when motivation is low, small victories provide a push to keep moving forward. Mia wanted to improve her art skills. By finishing one small sketch per day, she created visible progress that encouraged her to continue practicing, experimenting, and learning new techniques. Momentum grew from these consistent, small successes. Celebrate small wins to reinforce effort. Recognition of achievements, no matter how minor, strengthens motivation and self-belief. Celebrate progress internally or share it with supportive peers to boost commitment. Michael wanted to master coding. Each time he completed a small program or solved a difficult problem, he acknowledged the win. Celebrating these moments made the larger goal of building a full application feel achievable. Finally, understand that improvement is a journey of many small steps. Large goals are reached not by a single giant leap, but by a series of small, deliberate actions. Small wins provide the evidence, confidence, and momentum needed to continue pushing forward. To force yourself to improve, identify small, achievable tasks that move you closer to your goal, track progress, celebrate wins, and use the momentum to tackle larger challenges. Big progress is built one small win at a time. Chapter 15. Becoming your own driver of improvement. By now, you have learned many strategies to force yourself to improve. Building mental toughness, creating a growth environment, overcoming procrastination, turning failures into lessons, mastering self-discipline, focusing, setting actionable goals, maintaining consistency, reflecting on your actions, embracing discomfort, and leveraging small wins. All these strategies share one key truth. Improvement ultimately depends on you. You are the driver of your own growth. Consider Liam, who wanted to become a better athlete. Coaches, training programs, and teammates provided guidance, but none of them could force him to push himself every day. It was Liam's decisions, showing up, training through fatigue, and learning from mistakes that determined his progress. External support helps, but internal drive is the engine of improvement. Being your own driver requires self-accountability. Waiting for motivation or external pressure is unreliable. To improve consistently, you must take responsibility for your actions and results. No one can do the work for you, and excuses only delay growth. Take Emma, who wanted to improve her writing. She could have blamed teachers, limited resources, or busy schedules. Instead, she took ownership, setting daily writing goals, reviewing mistakes, and adjusting her methods. Her self-accountability transformed effort into measurable progress. Self-awareness strengthens your ability to drive improvement. Knowing your strengths, weaknesses, habits, and triggers allows you to plan and act intentionally. When you understand how you respond to challenges, you can anticipate obstacles and take proactive measures. Consider Daniel, who wanted to excel in math. By tracking his errors and analyzing patterns in his thinking, he discovered weak points in his logic and comprehension. This awareness allowed him to create targeted practice routines that led to faster improvement. Driving your own improvement also means maintaining discipline. Discipline bridges the gap between intention and action. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline ensures you act even when it feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. Noah wanted to learn a new language. Some days he felt tired, uninspired, or frustrated. By committing to disciplined daily practice, he continued making progress regardless of his mood. Discipline made improvement inevitable. Reflection is another key tool for self-driving improvement. Regularly reviewing actions, results, and emotions allows you to adjust strategies and refine habits. Without reflection, effort can be wasted on ineffective methods. Mia wanted to improve her painting. By reflecting after each session, what techniques worked, what challenges arose, and how she could improve next time. She turned each practice session into a learning opportunity. Reflection amplified the impact of her effort. Embracing discomfort is essential for self-driven improvement. Growth rarely occurs in safe, easy zones. By learning to face challenges, tolerate uncertainty, and push through pain or fear, you expand your capacity and unlock potential you didn't know existed. Take Alex, who wanted to improve his public speaking. Each uncomfortable presentation was an opportunity to strengthen confidence, refine skills, and learn from mistakes. By deliberately facing discomfort, he became a more capable and resilient speaker. Consistency and small wins provide the fuel and momentum for improvement. By acting regularly and celebrating incremental successes, you maintain motivation and reinforce habits. Over time, small, deliberate actions compound into significant growth. Consider Sarah, who wanted to become a better writer. Daily practice and tracking progress created a rhythm that turned effort into skill. Each small improvement reinforced her self-belief, creating a positive cycle of growth. Being your own driver also means setting and revising goals. Clear, challenging, and actionable goals provide direction and focus. They guide decisions, prioritize actions, and create a roadmap for success. Liam wanted to improve his running by setting measurable milestones: distance, time, endurance. He stayed focused and motivated. Goals allowed him to take deliberate action instead of wandering aimlessly. Finally, remember that improvement is a continuous journey, not a destination. Every day presents opportunities to learn, grow, and become better. Your choices, actions, and mindset determine the speed and extent of your progress. The responsibility lies with you, and the reward is your growth. To truly force yourself to improve, commit to being your own driver. Take ownership of your actions. Maintain discipline. Reflect regularly. Embrace discomfort. Track progress, and focus relentlessly on growth. No external force can substitute your internal drive. You have the tools, strategies, and mindset to achieve remarkable improvement, but only if you take control. The journey of improvement begins and ends with you. Every step you take, every challenge you face, every habit you build is your choice. You are capable, resilient, and powerful enough to force yourself to grow. The question is not whether you can improve, it's whether you will take the wheel and drive yourself toward the person you are meant to become.